Hi, in this lecture, I'll explain how to multiply powers with the same exponents. So the base are different, but the exponents are same. So let's take one example. Let's multiply 2 raised to power 3 with 3 raised to power 3. So 2 raised to power 3 will become 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2, and 3 raised to power 3 will be 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3. So we can rearrange these expression as 2 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 3 and multiply 2 multiplied by 3, which is 6 multiplied by 6 multiplied by 6, or 6 raised to the power 3. So we can say a raised to power m multiplied by b raised to power m is equal to a multiplied by b raised to power m. So here if we simply multiply 2 and 3, which is 6, and then simply put the same exponent, which is 3. So let's take another example. 4 raised to power 5 and multiply it with 3 raised to power 5 will be 4 multiplied by 3, which are the multiplication of the bases, and then with the same exponent. So 4 multiplied by 3 will be 12, and then we have 5 as an exponent. So 12 raised to the power 5. So now let's see how to divide powers with the same exponent and different bases. So let's start with one example. 4 raised to power 4 divided by 2 raised to power 4. So we can expand 4 raised to power 4 as 4 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 4 multiplied by 4, and then we can expand 2 raised to power 4 as 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2. So if we cut 2 from if we cut 4, if we divide 4 from 2, so there will be 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2, because all the 4s will become 2 once we divided it by 2. So we'll get 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2, and then we can write this as 2 raised to the power 4. Let's take another example. 2 raised to power 4 divided by 3 raised to power 4. So we can write it 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2, and then we can write 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3 multiplied by 3. So we can rearrange it 2 divided by 3 multiplied by 2 divided by 3 multiplied by 2 divided by 3 multiplied by 2 divided by 3, and these are 1 2 3 4. So we can say 2 divided by 3 raised to power 4. So we can define this formula as a raised to power m divided by b raised to power m is equal to a raised to power m divided by b raised to power m, or a divided by b raised to power m. So if we take another example, so take example 6 raised to power 3 divided by 3 raised to power 3 will be 6 divided by 3 raised to power 3, or 3 raised to power 3, or sorry, 2 raised to power 3. So now let's see what happens when we have exponent as a 0. So what is the value? So let's take one example, 2 raised to power 5 and divided by 2 raised to power 5. So we know when we have same base and in division, we can simply deduct the or subtract the exponents. So we can write 2 raised to power 5 minus 5, 5 minus 5. So which will be 2 raised to power 0, which will be 1. Let's see how it will be 1. So we can write 2 raised to power 5 as 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2, and then we can again write 2 raised to power 5 as 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 2. So we can write and rearrange this expression as 2 divided by 2 multiplied by 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 2 divided by 2. So this 2 divided by 2 is 1, 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 2 divided by 2 is 1. So 1 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 1 multiplied by 1 will be 1. So a raised to power 0 is equal to 1 we can define. So any base which have an exponent of 0 will be 1 except non-zero integer. 0 raised to power 0 is not defined. So we cannot say 0 raised to power 0 is also 1.